What's going on, everybody? Another episode here on the channel, and today we are going to be talking about potentially more WWE cuts, but this time hitting the main roster. So on Friday, April 29th of 2022, WWE released 10 NXT stars, including Malcolm Bivens, Dakota Kai, Harland, as well as Dexter Lumis, among others. The rest, and you had your Draco Anthonys of the world and everything like that, but nothing really notable. So I'm going to throw this on the screen, but this comes from Dave Meltzer on today's Wrestling Observer Radio, and he stated that he had heard that there were more talent releases coming due to budget cuts. And I quote, the transcript courtesy of Wrestling News Co. There were 10 NXT releases, and there's people in the company who think that's not it. I've heard rumblings about more. He continued to say there's definitely people on the main roster that you could see be cut. I guess the idea is to do it before the investors call. I don't know. That seems like the idea. The earnings call for Q1, or no, the second quarter of this year is going to be happening next month in May. And the reasoning behind that is if, the income, profits, revenue, what investors like, if it's not to the estimated amounts, WB will like to share news to make sure that, hey, shareholders are going to be happy and stuff like that. So there could be more. We don't know. Originally, these NXT cuts were going to happen earlier in the week, but they got pushed back to Friday. Since the pandemic has happened, WB has cut, I think the number is definitely over 100 people, both in NXT and on the main roster that have been cut. That doesn't even include employees and people who work in the office and behind the scenes. That's just talent. WB's roster is no doubt bloated, especially in NXT, not necessarily in the main roster, but I think the days of and Meltzer actually pointed this out on Wrestling Observer Radio, where Jim Ross, who was head of talent relations in the Attitude Era and mid-2000s, he had a rule of, all right, we're going to give 2 years to a developmental person. If they're not ready in 2 years to make it to the main roster and be a star for us, we're going to let you go. When Triple H took over developmental around 2011, 2012, 2013, he had the mindset of, okay, we're going to make stars in NXT, but if they're not necessarily main roster ready, well, we can keep them in NXT and use them as main stars. And, you instead of just having a constant churn of new star, once you become a champion, then you go to the main roster. If you're not main roster material in Vince's eyes, we'll keep you in NXT and we'll keep booking you as a top star who also puts over younger talent. Well, and using them, for 5, 10, 15 years, whatever the case may be. That has changed since Triple H has taken a step back. He's no longer involved in NXT, and now it's back to, okay, we're going to give you a year, maybe 6 months, and then we're going to let you go, because they're signing so much people that have no wrestling background whatsoever, but they come from the athletic world, which, of course, wrestling is athletic, but it's not amateur wrestling. It's, you played basketball, you played football, you were a gymnastics person, and we're going to teach you how to wrestle. That's the business model now in NXT. You have a great look, we'll go with you. If you don't improve, like a Harland, who reportedly did not improve very much, we're going to let you go. Then you have a Braun Breaker, football player, obviously Rick Steiner's son. He got over major. He was really good. He really is good, and he's main roster ready. It's just different styles, different folks, different ways. That's what's going on in NXT. So don't be surprised if there's more cuts coming and they come from the main roster. Hopefully there's not, but we'll have to see what happens. Make sure to consider to leave a like on this video and subscribe for more wrestling content.